I thought they were like. I thought they were like.
They're very, very small.
Just what we're going on in a few minutes. They're loading on the wheelchair accessible people, and we're going on the side of getting into the back of this. And we were supposed to go earlier, but they had one of them break down on the ramp coming in. A harbor hopper.
Service like that, you cannot take advantage of it.
I agree. Well, just for the sake of arguments, my name is Megan, and I'm going to be your ride-along.
Okay.
So if there's any need for a second crew, I'm...
Okay.
Is this where you go?
Hopefully you guys get it. It's about this vehicle. Does not run on diesel. Runs on enthusiasm. So let's try that again. Oh yeah. Well, we've got our hands full here today, I can see that. Well, welcome aboard the Harbour Hopper. My name's Jeff. I'm going to be your driver and captain, and with me is Bea, who will not only be your guide, but also your first mate. And Bea's tour, well, is very riveting. You got it. You got it. Before I hit the road, though, a couple things I need to tell you. To begin with, this vehicle is quite wide. It's actually about 3 feet wider than the streets. So that means we will be getting close to buses, stop signs, illegally parked, Amazon delivery trucks, who knows what else. So please keep your arms, your cameras, phones, anything of value, keeping your kids inside the Harbour Hoppers. We're traveling through the narrow streets.
I know a place where we can go and be alone. So come away with me, nobody has to know where we gonna go. I was just calling to see if you're free to run away with me, to run away with me. Don't tell your friends, we'll let them know we're safe later on. The road's calling, sun on our skin, sleeping under stars when it's gone. I was just calling to see if you're free to run away with me, to run away with me.
One more time. We'll circle back and do it one more time. Welcome to the Halifax Harbor, everyone. Hi. You guys are the second largest ice free port in the world. Second to Sydney, Australia. Coming up on your left, but what's also really cool is their air conditioning system. So they take water from the harbor and use it for their air conditioning system. So if you look, there are tubes at the base of the building. Those suck up the water. And this system was designed by the engineering students at Halifax University, which is one of the universities here in the city. Now I am an English major, so that's about all the details I can discuss. I know very little about it, but you know, by magic, super cool. Also seen on our right, the Halifax Dartmouth Ferry is named after Viola Desmond. She was an African Nova Scotian civil rights hero. She was an activist. And the Halifax Dartmouth Ferry is actually the longest running saltwater ferry system in all of North America. It began in 1752. It was a little bit different. It was just one guy and his rowboat and a dream. He could only take one person, and the trip from Halifax to Dartmouth, which is just over there, was 2 hours long. I know, and it was just him rowing. And he wouldn't let you on board if you weren't wearing your Sunday best. So if you weren't wearing your fancy clothing, you couldn't go to Dartmouth. We made a few changes now. The trip is only 12 minutes long. It can seat 300 people, and we prefer you wear clothing, but you know, it doesn't have to be your Sunday best. It was about a tragedy that happened in this harbor on December 6th, 1917. So the two characters in the story, one is a French ship called the Mont Blanc. It's carrying nearly 3,000 metric tons of explosives, and it's trying to come into the harbor. The other character in this story is a Norwegian ship called the Emo, and it's trying to get out of the harbor. So the Mont Blanc, on the night of December 5th, the day before, tried to come into the harbor, but they couldn't because we had these submarine defensive nets that came up and kind of locked other ships out so that no ships would come in at night. So they had to anchor outside. And in doing so, they lowered their red Bravo flag. This flag is really important because it signals to other ships that there are dangerous goods on board. So when they lowered this flag, no one knew about the explosives, and for some reason the next morning, they failed to raise that flag again. So they were a mysterious ship coming into the harbor. They came into the harbor on the morning of December 6th, and they went on the Dartmouth side of the harbor, going in this direction. At the same time, the Norwegian ship was going on the Halifax side of the harbor, going in this direction. So the Mont Blanc and the Emo, they were separated, going in separate directions, but the Emo was in a hurry. They were trying to get out of the harbor as quickly as possible. So they were trying to get around these slow-moving vessels that were in their path. So they went in their inappropriate lane of traffic and jumped into the harbor, the Dartmouth side of the harbor, meaning they were coming head-to-head with the Mont Blanc. That was also in that lane of traffic going in the opposite direction. And then both ships were raising flags trying to get the other to move out of the way, and neither did until the very last second when both tried to move. This created a collision between the two ships, which started sparks that started a fire on the Mont Blanc, the ship with all of the explosives. At this point, the French crew is jumping overboard to the Halifax and Dartmouth shores, trying to let the people know how dangerous this collision is going to be, how dangerous this fire is going to be. But we're English speaking, they're French speaking, and the communication was poor, and the collided ships drifted down the harbor to, if you can see the tips of those three smokestacks, they're red and white, they're near the bridge. That is where the collided ships eventually exploded at 9:05 in the morning. This was the biggest man-made explosion prior to the atomic bomb, and when Oppenheimer was trying to make the atomic bomb, he actually studied the Halifax explosion. All right, I'm going to pause here on this cliffhanger, I guess. And I'm going to worry there's going to be a little bit of a bump, and then there's going to be a ramp, and then we're going to get out of the harbor, and I'll continue the Halifax explosion story. Alright, so the explosion, it created a tidal wave that was 60 feet high, so big that for a brief period the bottom of the harbor was visible. All the windows on the peninsula shattered, all of the homes on the north end were flattened, and to make matters worse, we received the biggest snowstorm in 40 years that night after the explosion with over 40 centimeters of snow. So snow was coming into these windowless homes and making the recovery mission very, very difficult. 2,000 were killed, around 9,000 were injured, 250 were left blind, which was the largest mass blinding in Canadian history because of these shattered windows. And it didn't look like we were going to be able to recover until Boston lent a helping hand. So, the city of Boston, the city of Boston called for a state of emergency. They sent their graduating class of Harvard Medical School up here to Halifax to provide aid. And even Boston citizens themselves, they were sending up food, clothing, blankets, anything they could think of, even their own windows. So Boston citizens were taking windows out of their own home and sending them up here to Halifax because we had no windows. So because of their help, we were able to overcome the explosion. And to show our gratitude, every year we send them the biggest, most spectacular fir tree grown here in the province, and it's sent down to the Boston Commons every year where it is lit at Christmas time. So that's the story of the Halifax explosion. Aww. That's the story of the also come to visit his grave. I'm sure he appreciates the love, and you can as well. It's here in the city of Halifax. Yes.
Now you know they're from the war, Vietnam War. Thank you.
Thank you.
Where you want to take it?
I want to take one this side over here then.
Okay, then I'm going to take a picture. I don't do anything.
No, I'll cut them out.
5 minutes. 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes. Everybody's got to go to Nashville. Yeah. And spend like 30 days on Broadway. Yeah. She would do the same to me. A little further.
Country lanes and coastal plains, endless views that we're passing through.